Hey guys, this is Gary from MileageWise, and today I'm going to walk you through the basic data menu of the MileageWise Web dashboard. The Headquarters and Branches tab is where you would add your vehicle's default daily departure and arrival location. If you use a personal vehicle, this would be your home address. If it's a company vehicle, in most cases, it would be your office location. Let me show you how to add a new one. So you can actually use the interactive map, or if you prefer, you can use the search bar right here. The next step is to actually name your location. And then it is important to select the correct trip purpose, because that's going to determine if it's considered a business or a personal location. Once you're done, just click Save. Okay. And now onto the next menu tab. Here is where you can actually manage your clients and locations that you visit for either business or personal purposes. For example, a business meeting, or it could be your local Wendy's. Also, all of your automatically recorded or manually recorded clients with the mobile application will also be added to your list of clients' locations here within the basic data menu. To add a new one manually with the web dashboard, just follow the same steps that you just saw with the Headquarters and Branches tab. Let's move on to the filling stations. In a similar way, you can actually manage your gas and charging stations. There are a few functions within the software which take this into consideration, but for most of you, especially if you're using the standard mileage rate as your calculation basis, you could just add your filling stations to the clients and locations menu. But if you're a little bit neater and more precise, then of course you can use the filling stations menu as well. You can add it the same way manually as you saw with the previous ones. Let's continue to the Vehicles tab. The Vehicles tab will list all of your added vehicles, which you can modify or delete depending on your circumstances. As you can see, you can change the name of the driver, the make, the model, the owner of the vehicle, and this is where you can actually set your default daily departure and arrival location. If you choose to insert it, all that's going to do is it's going to automatically place it as the first and last trip for each day, which means that you'll only have to record your trips in between. And to add a new vehicle, it's a similar way, just add a new one right here, and that's pretty much it. Okay, and now onto the trip purposes library. You will find some default trip purposes already in here, but if you want, you can add your own custom trip purpose and name it whatever you like. It's important to choose if it's a business or a personal location, as that is what is going to actually determine if the software uses it as a business mileage or personal mileage. If you would like to set it as default location, just know that what that's going to do is when you use your application to log your trips automatically, the default trip purpose will be automatically assigned to your newly visited clients and locations. This means that it's always recommended to choose a somewhat universal, or in other words, kind of ambiguous trip purpose, your default one, such as Uber ride, business meeting, client visit, something simple. Okay, and now onto the import function. So if you have an Excel or a CSV file of your addresses, you're actually able to import them in bulk into our system with our import function. This will save you a lot of time, especially if you're trying to recreate past mileage logs for a previous period. Let's move on to the vehicle client pairing and the client vehicle pairing menus. And these menus should really only be utilized in case of multiple vehicles and users, because their main goal is to streamline the system usage for accounts with maybe 10 or plus users, and it'll also make it a lot more transparent. We have separate help articles on this topic. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but in short, you can pair up your vehicle with specific clients and vice versa to make sure that each of your users doesn't have too much data and information in the way of their system usage. Let's move on to the recurring daily trips function. So the recurring daily trips function can be used to add regular trips that happen weekly on specific days. For example, you might visit the office, then your usual lunch spot, and then you might go to the gym every single Monday. I'll give you an example of how this works. Okay, these are random locations technically, but You get the gist. So let's say this is actually your office, this is your lunch spot, and this is your gym. If you do this strip every single Monday, and you can set it up in the system, it's going to load these in automatically for all of your days for Monday. And you can actually copy this day for every single other day that you follow the exact same routine. Click to copy it and save. Alright, and now let's move on to the Overwriting Calculated Distances menu. You can overwrite and customize distances between client A and client B, which is different to what the program calculates with. For example, if you take the country road from one specific location to another location instead of the highway, you can enter the distance here and modify it. And from this point on, if you go the same route again, it's going to use this specific distance when calculating your mileage. Let's move on to the next one. So the odometer reading calculator function actually allows you to calculate end of month odometer readings for a longer time period by specifying your refueled amount for each given month. This really comes in handy when you're trying to recreate past mileage logs, but we do actually have a separate tutorial video for this, so feel free to check that out after this one. And now onto the last menu tab. This is where you can actually check the current and the previous year's standard mileage rates if it interests you. Thank you guys for watching, and see you next time.